Good times and great music at 2RFM 103.7. Time to jump back into Caravan Corner. We do that every month or so with Jeff from Checkweight Mobile Caravan Weighing. And Jeff, today we'll take a look at some of those big American-style trucks and are they the answer to some of the issues people may be having with the weight in the vans. But, mate, before we do that super quickly, another quick thing at the moment, a lot of the wind and weather conditions around at the moment. Super quick for those that have got the caravans on the back, that can be a bit tricky.
Oh, absolutely. Wind, I mean, if you think about it, you've got a big box that you're towing behind your vehicle. And when you've got a crosswind, it can be very, very dangerous, especially when you go down into a valley or, crest the top of a hill and then you get hit by a big wind. So something to be very, very aware of. Check the weather forecast. If it's high winds, maybe stay another day. Yeah,
again, and particularly for those who might not have done that a lot of times, and even if you are experienced with towing your caravan, you may not have had those high winds around. So something to keep in mind there. All right, the biggest style American trucks is what you want to have a look at today. At face value, they would think that this might be the answer to a lot of people's questions, but as always, it's never that simple, right?
If it was really quite simple, then I probably wouldn't have a business and a job. But it is, and the answer is yes and no. Okay. I wrote a blog a couple of years ago about the Ram 1500, and I'm not having a go at the Rams. I'm not in favour of one or the other, but there's sort of this marketing hype where they can tow 4.5 tonnes. So therefore, if I'm towing 3 tonne, I'm okay. But the towing capacity is the least thing that we actually see wrong. It's more to do with payload, therefore exceeding your GVM and your rear axle weights. And that's where I see some of the American trucks just don't quite match it. Example for a Ram 1500, it has less payload than your standard Ranger or D-Max. Are they big? Are they strong? Are they powerful? Yes, they've got a good footprint for towing, but some of them just don't have the payload.
Right, so this is where we can sort of get I'm not going to say come unstuck, but just not be getting all of the right information when you're looking to update your vehicle with when you're wanting to sort of tow a caravan. Like you said, yep, can I tow it? Yes, but it's those other bits of information that really make the full package here.
Yeah, well, as we've discussed before, there's 7 legal limits, and then there's other limits that we look at, other things that we look at as well at Checkweight. But the main one we see a problem with is your rear axle weight, because if you've got a load in the back of your ute and then you add the tow ball weight, that actually equates to around 150%, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. So if you've got 350 kilos or say 300 kilos on the tow ball weight, that equates to about 450 on your rear axle. So then if you're putting another couple hundred kilos in your vehicle or in the tray, then that doubles that. So that's where you've got to be really careful. And I suppose that's where, if you're spending $130,000 on a vehicle and you end up with a vehicle that you can't actually use the back of the tray, it seems a little bit nonsensical. So you just got to be really careful and look at all the weights. You can't put a canopy, you can't put drawers, fridge, everything, and then hook up a big caravan and expect to be underweight.
So I guess that would the number one piece of advice be for those who are looking to update the vehicle and they want to do a lot of caravanning with is to look at all of these bits of information and make sure that it can do all the things you want it to do?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, we listen to the salesperson or the marketing hype a lot, and this is across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're buying a Land Cruiser or a Ram or a small truck or a Triton. Look at the figures. I spoke to a guy the other day who just bought a F-150, the new Ford out, and there's been a lot of hype around it. And I said, what's the payload? And he looked at me and he said, what do you mean? And I said, what's the payload of the vehicle? And he said, don't know. So he's just forked out $130,000 on a new vehicle and doesn't know how many kilos he can put in it. It's around 700 or 800 kilos, which is not a lot when you're towing a big caravan. If you've got, wife and 2 kids and you want to put a fridge and a few things in the back or a few push bikes, that payload's going to go very quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing to keep in mind. It's not just the caravan, but it's all of the stuff that you go away on holidays, you caravans where you live, you have everything with you usually.
Well, and especially if you're going on big trips, if you're going around Australia or looking at doing the lap. So as with anything, some of the American trucks are really, really good. And if you go up to like the Ram 2500 or the Ford F250, even the big Silverados, they have a massive axle weights and GCM, which is the gross combination mass. But if you register them as a car so that you're driving on a car license, then you've got no payload. So we've weighed quite a few at Checkweight where they're registered as a car license because maybe the guy's got a truck license but the wife hasn't, so they've registered and they end up overweight. I mean, it's quite a simple fix and not that hard to get a light rigid truck license. So if you are buying one of those, the big ones, make sure it's a light rigid truck, and then you've got absolutely no issues.
All right, couple of things to think of there. As always, Jeff, we appreciate your time. It's not as windy today, so you'll be safe back out there, mate. Appreciate you coming in.
No worries. Thanks, Mark. Have a great day and travel safe.
All right, Jeff DeAth from our having a look at caravans again with us this morning on 2NURFM 103.7.
A broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.